Okay, so the class is being recorded. This is EA300B, and this is our perhaps third class on the other side of truth. Actually, today's discussions and conversations would mark the end of our activities on the stuff that we should finish before the midterm. Does it mean that we're ending everything? No, we still have like one more class for revision where we're going to wrap things up and talk about the three works that we have with us in the MTA. Remember the two picture books together with the other side of truth. Towards the end of the class, I would like you to remind me to kind of agree on a mutually convenient time for the uh, for, what, for the revision. Uh, on second thoughts, I think Thursday can be our revision class, and perhaps we need to think of making it more convenient if for everyone, including the people from the other classes, for everyone to attend. But let's agree on that towards the end of the class. Now let's talk about the other side of truth. By now you should have read it. By now you should be able to talk about it in and out in terms of themes, in terms of topics and issues, and also in terms of you know the messages that the writer is trying to get across to us. Remember, we said that in terms of techniques, um, there isn't much that we can talk about because it's a traditional piece of work with clear beginning, clear development of ideas, and then you have a closure, which is typical. The ideas are perhaps more important this time around. The ideas and also the techniques of approaching the material. If we talk about close reading and how to analyze things. Okay, so the other side of truth spoke about the title, and we unpacked the title on a number of occasions. And we spoke about the themes and the ideas that the novel uh, introduces and exposes. Um, so it's the other side of truth that we're doing, and it's Beverly Naidu that we are reading for. We spoke about Naidu, Beverly Naidu, is South African writer who happens to be also, or perhaps she was, or has always been a political activist. She started off condemning what is happening in South Africa during the apartheid time. And then when her political activism got intense, she got exiled and she went to none other than England. And then came Nelson Mandela, and South Africa became, um, the the political decision making became became African and black rather than white minority based. So this is a change in the right direction. Naidu spoke about her experience, and her novels were platforms for communicating what uh, the frustrations of those black oppressed before, of course, Nelson Mandela took over. when she went to England and the apartheid system was eradicated and eliminated, she shifted gears, and now we have a novel not about South Africa, not set in South Africa, actually set in Nigeria. We need to also remember that, to her credit, Naidu is white, not black. But this is moral courage. This is feeding for other human beings, regardless of ethnicity and skin color. And again, she's talking about Nigeria, not South Africa. Again, she is talking about Nigeria, which is obviously a representation of countries with similar scenarios where you have a military regime dominating, oppressing, and obviously Nigeria is only an example, a representation. And again, it's not about the military regime per se. She's focused on the political atmosphere and those who get caught in the crossfire. You have corruption because of the military regime, and you have people kind of exposing this corruption, and you have people in the middle caught in the crossfire. And of course, she's focusing on children. Children are caught in the crossfire between the government and those who attack the government and expose its corruption. This is obviously not the best scenario, this is not the best possible scenario for kids and for children. Again, exposing governments, showing and exercising fearless reporting is something commendable, something very good, but perhaps it's not about why you're doing that as much as it is about when and how you can do that, given the fact that you have children involved. This is what the whole novel is about. It does not condemn, um, exposing corruption and political oppression. It perhaps condemns the hows and the whens of those who are exposing this kind of corruption, as given in the character of or the characters of the parents. So it's the other side of truth, everyone. And what do we know? We knew that it was published in 2000. We know that it received so many accolades because of how daring it is, because of the hot issues and the red flags that it addresses and talks about. It's the other side of truth. It was written in 2000, which makes it a postmodern piece of work. But far from it, it doesn't show any uh, any signs of postmodernism and its techniques, perhaps in the issues when we talk about immigration, when we talk about the treatment of children, the good and the bad. These are, of course, issues that are postmodern. But the techniques, like I said, are very traditional. Um, how much do we know about Beverly Naidu? We know that she was born in 1943, and the fact that she grew up under the apartheid regime in South Africa. She herself was white, of European descendants. Um, Again, She, being white, did not kind of uh, stop her from steering away for what we call moral disengagement. And moral disengagement is about saying that they were born this way and they should be treated this way. Why would I bother? Stuff like that. No, she was white, but she was totally against the apartheid system in South Africa. She exposed the people involved, the white people involved in it until it came to an end. Um, by the way, there is a whole article on her journey, how she started, and this was obviously written by somebody else. And there is an article that she herself wrote, and she is retracing the whole thing about how she thought of the book and how I mean, she spoke about the inspiration for this kind of book and the leaders in South Africa, I'm sorry, in Nigeria that inspired her to write the book. So as a young girl, Beverly Naidu began to question the superiority of white people. Again, remember we said that she was politically active right from the very start. At 21 years, when she was 21, she was arrested for her activism in the resistant movement. Who is resisting whom? She is resisting the white apartheid, the racial segregation, and again, she will pay a price. Remember, she was imprisoned on different occasions until she decided to go on exile in England. There is a great deal that we can learn from her story, and it's all over the place. All you need to do is to Google her name, and you're going to come up with her biography and everything about um, her excellent life career. Remember when we spoke about the novel, we said that it is replete with themes and ideas. And again, they all resonate with us as people from the third world. At one point, we were all, with our different nationalities, were under different kinds of occupations. If you happen to be Indian or from Bangladesh, you were under British occupation, the British Raj. If you, even if you were Egyptian, if you are Algerian or North Africa, so it's the French occupation. If you are from the Levant, from Lebanon, Palestine, so you are either under Israeli occupation or the French occupation at one point. So we share the same kind of, uh, um, oppression. So the novel resonates with us on this level, and it's full of ideas. Again, we need to remember that it was written in the 2000s, which means that uh, uh, it has issues that we are grappling with, and people are grappling with as we speak, like the idea of immigration and displacement. Um, Again, ideas that have to do with how children are treated and how they are taken for granted. These are, of course, they are old issues, but they were not given prominence and they were not brought to the forefront. It's only nowadays that we are starting to come to the realization that children uh, um, can be independent thinkers. They can think for themselves. They should be consulted and everything in between. So these are the themes that we're dealing with. We're talking about political oppression. We're talking about freedom of speech, truth-telling, asylum seeking, home and exile, formal and informal education, the role of the media, resistance and political activism, child agency, and I would add to that the idea of moral ambiguity and also moral absolutism. So I would even write them down. So I would say moral absolutism and moral ambiguity. So these are themes that we all grapple with. Moral absolutism is about applying rigid rules when it comes to what is right and what is wrong. Moral ambiguity is about, you know, walking the fine line between what is right and what is wrong. We'll talk more about that when the time is right. Um, one of the themes that stand out is the theme of truth telling. Um, and of course, I would like us to come to, because we spoke about it before we read that, I would like you to tell me what truth telling means in the novel and what are the different manifestations of that in the novel. I understand that by now you have read the novel, and if you haven't read it, you have read a good summary, and perhaps you have heard me speak about it on a number of occasions. So come to the mic. When I say truth telling, how is truth telling dealt with in the novel? Again, you would also kind of relate it to the idea of moral ambiguity and moral absolutism. Yalla, come to the mic and share. We're not taxing, we're not judging. What do we know about? Yeah, Wissam.
Is my voice clear? Is my voice clear?
Yeah, but the background noise is overwhelming.
Yeah, sorry about that. Hi everyone.
Yeah,
I've
hi.
only I've only read a few chapters. In fact, it's only 4 chapters and a half actually, and I didn't know that the author is a female writer. I just knew that um, from what I have read. The novel starts with putting us through the trauma that Sage and her brother face from the loss of their mother and the abandonment they face when they arrive to England. However, I haven't yet encountered any um, truth related actions. Yet, I've noticed that the novel really dives into the reality of life, considering it's a novel for young readers.
Okay. Okay, Wissam, thank you so much. Okay, again, let me just remind you that we're talking about uh, truth-telling and how truth-telling is dealt with in the novel, the different manifestations of truth-telling or the lack thereof, or connecting this to the idea of moral absolutism and the moral ambiguity that comes with it. Can somebody come to the mic and tell us how in the novel there are references to the truth and whether to tell the truth or perhaps be economical with it? Yeah, go ahead, Joyce.
Yeah, doctor. Basically, the main theme about it is like when it's discussing the consequences of telling or hiding the truth. You know, like the father um, He's a journalist. He wrote about what the government did and how corrupted it was in Nigeria. When he refused to remain silent, he actually put his family in danger and he lost his wife because of that. So it's like a message like if you actually talked about such matters, you're gonna face really hard consequences. Also, when the
fearless reporting is about telling the truth, no matter what,
yes,
right?
yes,
But there,
basically,
but
yes.
there, but there are obviously consequences for that, right?
Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
If
Mm,
anyone wants to tell the truth, they have to be ready to face the consequences. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but he also the conversation between like what the girl remembered when the mom and the dad were having the conversation about telling the truth or not telling the truth. You can tell like he was willing to take the risk, okay? Although his wife tried to convince him not to do so, but she didn't stop him. And this
Mm,
caused him to lose his wife and get separated from his kids. Also, when the boy and the girl were in London, they were struggling also. Are they going to tell the truth or they're supposed to hide it? Because most of the time they did not say their names properly because they're afraid of deportation
yes.
after all. Or maybe they're going to put themselves in danger, or maybe they're going to cause issues to their father back home. They thought that their father is still in Nigeria. So maybe if they talk, they're going to put him in danger and they would know where the government and the bad people basically would know where they are. And maybe they will kill their father or maybe come after them. So they were like very cautious when it comes to that. But at the end, what the girl did and went to the media and spoke about it to the media actually helped her father not being deported after all. And they were reunited after all. And they exposed what happened. So sometimes telling the truth is essential regardless of the consequences.
Yeah, and then there is also this idea that it's about when and how you tell the truth. Sometimes, of course, we're not promoting lying here, but sometimes you may want to manipulate and maneuver for a nobler cause. Like you said, they didn't want to kind of reveal the identity of their father and perhaps mention his name so that he doesn't get deported and he doesn't get harmed. So this is obviously not telling the truth. This is not hiding the truth. Obviously, this is perhaps kind of maneuvering or um, you know hiding the truth for strategic purposes, if you like. Again, perhaps the focus would be on being taught something when you are a kid, and then you grow up believing that telling the truth is absolute, and there is no way you can hide it or be economical with it. But you find yourself grappling with that because of the situations that you're put in. You are you have to choose between telling the truth and losing your father or your parent, for example. In this case, telling the truth wouldn't be the best policy, obviously. So this is what Said is grappling with, the idea that she was brought up on the principle of absolute truth telling. And this is what I refer to as moral absolutism. Things from the experience, Said will realize that life is not black and white. There are shades. There are gray areas that people have to learn to navigate. So that's why she was always grappling with this idea of whether what she has learned over the years from her parents was good or bad. The idea that telling the truth in this situation would mean harming her father. So again, I'm stressing the fact that it's the idea of moral absolutism, and brings in the idea of moral ambiguity. She doesn't know whether what she is doing by hiding the truth is good or bad because of the learning that she has been receiving from her inflexible father, an inflexible mother when it comes to truth telling. This is very important. Again, different manifestations of truth telling or the lack thereof. When you talk about also journalism, because obviously not all media and not all journalism tell the truth. They turn sometimes into sheer and mere propaganda, and propaganda is about withholding the truth and telling you falsehoods and stories that never happened. So again, when we talk about truth telling, it can be individualistic. We talk on the individual level. We talk about what Said went through, what she has to do, and what she has been learned. She has been learning to do, and on the level of society, we're talking about professions whose main job would be to tell the truth, and whether they are doing this or not, it depends on where you are, whether you are in a free uh, um, country that guarantees freedom of speech like England, or you're talking about Nigeria, at least at the time where freedom of expression is a risky business. You cannot freely express your views and you expect to go home safe and everything. So this is one of the ideas that I would like you to think of and consider, the idea of truth telling and how you can relate it to the idea of moral ambiguity and moral absolutism. Uh, uh, so So widely accepted principles such as always telling the truth, remaining honest, and showing kindness and respect to the old were now challenged by numbers of writers keen to point out that defining moral behavior could sometimes be a far more complex business than the mere following of absolute rules. This is exactly what we're talking about. We are born and raised on the idea of absolute morality and moral absolutism, but obviously, writers are telling us that there is more to life than just that. The life itself, especially if you are thrown into the deep end, is different, the deep end of the pool, of course. If you are put in situations where you have to choose, the idea of absolute rules wouldn't apply. So how does this apply to the other side of truth? This is what we've been talking about, obviously. And this is a situation, an encounter between Mama Abiya and Said. Uh, and she's kind of, you know, trying to calm Said down by telling her, yeah, I know how hard it is on you not to tell the truth. I understand and everything. Uh, don't blame yourself, said Mama Avia quietly. Sometimes people do not tell the truth because they are so desperate. I'm sure that is what happened with you too, and I'm very sure with your father. Obviously, she's referring to Said and her brother. And again, we're talking about a number of lies, a web of lies that those guys have to go through and be part of. Again, you would think that this can be kind of out of keeping with their character. We know that they are well raised. We know them how they were brought up. Again, this is perhaps what Said is all about. She cannot navigate this web of lies, whether uh, given to her by the other members of society, or what she has to do, and she herself has to navigate this by being a liar herself. So what did Said lie about? And is this what she had been taught informally back home? What do you think? What did she lie about? And whether this is what she was brought up against at home. Obviously, she lied on a number of occasions, and on one of them, or perhaps chief among them, would be the idea that she didn't reveal the true identity of her father for fear that he should be discovered and deported and get executed in the process. Mhm. Another version of truth telling that is not without a consequence, dire as it is, that this is an encounter between the two brothers. Florin, the father of the two kids, and his brother. I would like you to read it and tell me what you take away from that, what you understand from that. I'll give you a couple of minutes to read it. Perhaps you want to take down notes. Yeah, give you a couple of minutes. Okay. So what do you have to say about this? Come to the mic. Okay. Yeah, Munira.
Yes, doctor. Just like the brother is just giving a warning for his brother for his action for telling the truth and give him example for the previous people what happened for them because of telling the truth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, so what is the big picture? So obviously we're talking about truth telling, right? So is he is the brother against the idea of telling the truth? Is he telling his brother that you're not doing a good job, you're bad, and everything for telling the truth, or what? What do you think?
He tell for him just like telling the truth if it's something good, but it's not working because of the consequences for it.
No. Mm.
When he tell this one what you write from the grave,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay. Can we have
this is
somebody else? Yeah. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you, Munira, so much. Yeah. Let's have Joyce.
Yeah, doctor. Like what he's trying to suggest here, like, yeah, telling the truth is really noble, but it can have deadly consequences. What would you do if you are dead? Like, okay,
Mm.
it's good to talk, it's okay to expose the truth, but the problem is it's gonna cause you either a loss of a family or maybe you can die because of this. But even, and then he gave him an example about that the Nigerian, I think, writer,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
where he was executed because of that. Even there were international pressures about sparing his life. The government at that time did not listen. If international pressures didn't do the job, would you actually do it as just a single writer? So he's trying to reason with him, like, okay, I know you're brave and I know you want to tell the truth, but are you wise in doing so or not? This is what I got from it.
Yeah. It's about calculating. It's about choosing how and when, obviously, right? Again, it's not, I mean, obviously, the brother is very practical, is very pragmatic, is does not also believe in the idea of moral absolutism, right? Yeah, tell the truth all you like, but you need to know when and how, right? You don't put yourself in harm's way and say, I'm telling the truth. Okay, and again, you need to also remember that you're not alone. You have kids, they have a future. You have a wife, and of course, we all know what happened to his wife. So it's not that the brother is against truth telling. Obviously, he is about when and how to tell it, right? And he has given vivid examples of what happened to people who to criticize the government. Obviously, he's referring to one of the fiercest critics of the Nigerian government at the time, and how he got executed, and nobody listened. Like Joyce is saying, there was a lot of international uproar and appealing to the government, but they didn't listen, obviously, and the guy got killed and executed. So this is an example, a very good one, of um, showing flexibility, uh, being strategic and tactful with truth telling. Again, it's not about hiding or the truth, or it's not about shying away from telling it. No, it's not about that. It's about choosing when and how, obviously. Yeah, that's a good one. Again, there is also talk about the kids when they went to school, and how they were treated, and the bullying that they received over there, and how this is I mean, how this was some kind of microcosm for a bigger macrocosm, which is the world that we live in, and also Nigeria. Remember what happened to the kids? So remember what happened to the kids over there? So
And the girl
if
was bullied,
yeah, yeah.
they bullied her and
Hmm.
the other girl as well. and one of them asked her to actually steal from her friend's
mm,
uncle's
mm,
shop. Yeah,
mm. And what did she do?
she actually
Again,
did. Yeah,
yeah,
she
this is
refused
an
at the
example.
beginning.
Yeah, yes. Again, this is again about moral integrity. I am born and raised against this idea of moral integrity. I cannot do anything against my moral integrity. My moral integrity tells me that I shouldn't listen to them. I even have to face up to them. I have to kind of I try not to appease and please them. No, I shouldn't be doing that. But she came to realize that this is going to land her into further and more trouble. That's why she decided that she has to be strategic in dealing with them and dealing with, and she even went as far as stealing, like they told her, right? Again, would our moral absolutism say that she was wrong? No, absolutely not. She was smart. She knew how to behave, and she knew that doing that against her will is not a bad thing at all, right? Um, yeah, that's a good idea. Again, if anything, it also reveals the fact that we don't live in the best of all possible worlds when it comes to moral integrity. Sometimes we have to bend. Sometimes we have to um, kind of show flexibility because the world that we live in does not have enough safeguards, if we tell the truth, if we deal um, inspired by morality and principles and everything in between. So again, chapters, I mean, most of the chapters are all about themes of oppression, resistance, and telling the truth. And these themes reverberate, uh, and you will have echoes of them throughout the novel. Again, the focus would be on the internal conflicts that Said has, especially when we talk about truth telling, comparing what she is used to live under the different parameters that her parents set for her, moral parameters, and what she is facing and seeing in the real world. Again, this is one of the inspiration, the story of Ken Saru Wiwu. And obviously, Ken Saru Wiwu was a very important social reformer. I think he was perhaps a university professor. He was known the world over, and at one point, Beverly Naidu met him. When he went back to Nigeria and he started to kind of lash out against the government, exposing its double dealings and its corruption when it comes to oil and the distribution of wealth, he got caught, obviously, and the next thing you know, he got executed. So Ken Saru Wiwu is more or less echoed in the novel, is represented in the novel by the character of the father. So you have two versions of Ken Saru in the novel. You have the moral absolutist version that is represented by the father, and you also have the version, the more pragmatic version that is represented by the brother of the father and also by Said. Remember, Said could have been another Ken Saru Wiwu Obviously, they are not going to execute her, but they are going to execute her father. She is, so as you can see, perhaps Naidu is trying to tell us that we have two versions of people telling the truth. You have the extreme version of those moral absolutists, like the father, who do not bend, who are not flexible, who believe that they have to tell the truth no matter what. And you have a modified version who believe that truth telling is a great thing, but we need to know how and when to tell the truth. So this is the inspiration, as a matter of fact, for the novel. And there is, again, when we talk about truth telling, when we talk about uh, um, moral integrity, we talk about the role of the media. So the role of the media is an important theme in the novel. And how is this so? I'm asking everyone, how do you see the role of the media and who represents? Obviously, we have a number of characters and institutions representing the role of the media. So come to the mic and tell me what you understand of that. I'll give you perhaps a couple of minutes for you to think the role of the media in the novel. Okay, I would like you to think of it along the following lines. Think of what what the media is, and then think of the different functions and rules and perhaps purposes of the media, why media is there, and then see whether the media is playing the role it should play. If you have set a number of rules for the media, and see whether media live up to those rules, or perhaps it's doing something else. And then we talk about examples in the novel. Yeah, think about it along these lines. Okay, so can we talk about it? So how much do we know about the media in the novel and how the media is presented? It's different roles, it's different shapes and forms, and whether the media lives up to our expectations of it or not. Yeah, raise your hand and come to the mic. Okay, come to the mic. I can't see hands. Why is that? Hmm. Okay. How about everyone else? I can see Joyce. Who else is ready to come to the mic and share with us? As we spoke about that at one point. Okay, yeah, Joyce.
Yeah, doctor, to answer your questions, like what media is, it's like basically the channels of communication, mainly to distribute information, either the news, the magazines, like newspaper, television, radio or social media. But of course, at that time, we didn't have social media to that extent. The functions of media normally is either to inform the public, to educate, or hold governments or those who are in power accountable to their actions, like maybe investigating, sorry, the corruption, exposing injustices and stuff like that. But in the novel itself, we have two sides of the media. Like in Nigeria, it is controlled and it fails its role because the Nigerian government is controlling everything. And this is very evident with the famous writer who got killed because of him telling the truth. Also, what happened with the father, he took the risk and he talked about the injustices of the government, and he got his family shattered. Like everyone is in a different direction, and he lost his wife. But in Britain, it's like 50-50 kind of thing. It's like it partially succeeded in doing its job because it's due to the journalists and the media in London. The girl and the boy were reunited with the father and they exposed what happened in Nigeria. But still, the media is selective. Like they don't talk about everything, only the stories that gain public interest. Like they did not talk about the refugees, about what happens to them, about the process of all what's happening within, like the condition of these people. But no, only they talk about the different ideas or that actually interest the public. So still, it is corrupted in a way. So yeah, in free societies, the media plays an important role, but where the government is controlling everything, it's not gonna do its job.
It becomes more of a propaganda kind of thing. It's not honest reporting anymore. It's all about promoting ideas given by the government. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, Munira, come to the mic.
Yes, doctor. And also the media, it's a powerful thing, can shape the public opinion
Yeah,
and also can direction people to
yeah, it
different
can
sides.
direct people. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. If it's not free media, if it operates under the guidelines and directions of governments, and again, the place is very relevant and important here. If we talk about media in Nigeria, obviously it's different from media in the West. Even though now we're seeing lots of similarities where honest reporting is something that we miss very much in the world of late. Um, it depends also on the geography and the location. I mean, geography obviously determines what kind of media and what kind of output we will receive from media. Of course, under media would come the idea of journalism and whether there is honest reporting, fearless watchdog kind of reporting, or is it appeasing and pleasing the governments? What we're seeing um, again in Nigeria, for the most part, is appeasing and pleasing the government until and unless somebody like the father of Said comes over and says um, tell the truth and reveal and expose the corruption of the government. Again, people like that are very few and far between. Perhaps when you go to England and to the West, it's going to be a little bit different, where you have freedom of expression, kind of guaranteed by their constitutions. You're free to say what you want. Again, media is more liberated, is freer. Again, we still have dishonest reporting at times, of course. Yeah. Again, obviously, Naidu is highlighting the role of the media and how important it is. And the novel ends on the good news that the family uh, um, get reunited because of the work of the media. When Said was given a platform, she could explain the situation and whatever happened to her, and that's why she garnered the support and secured the attention of the public, and she became the talk uh, of the town, if you like. So again, media is very important. Media is about educating us, is about informing us, is about giving us the voice that we may not have. If we have grievances, if we have something that we would like to share with the members of the public and we cannot, the media, if it is honest, if it is living up to its true nature, will help you have this platform. Um, Again, different types of media, different kinds of journalism, depending on the geography, depending on where you are in the world. Um, we'll stop on this note and we'll take a 10-minute break. And when we come back, we can go on discussing the different aspects of the novel. I'll see you in 10 minutes, inshallah. Hello, I'm back. Are you guys all back? Now we're celebrating the Foundation Day here in Jeddah, but that's why. Um, okay, if we're all here, please raise your hands. Okay, good, nice. So again, it was all about the other side of truth, its different aspects, and the ideas that it explores and projects. And one of them would be about England or the West in general, and whether the West lives up to what we think it is. I mean, we think of England and the West as beacons of democracy, freedom of expression, um, you know, democracy. People would go there to seek sanctuary and refuge. Um, whether this is happening or not is obviously a matter of debate, and everybody is sticking to their guns when it comes to what the West means and stands for. So where do you stand before we talk about the novel? Let's talk of what you think of the West, and we're not talking about England. We're talking about the West, and when I talk about the West, of course, I'm talking about West, Western Europe. I'm talking about the United States of America and Canada. So, what do you think? Let's first of all establish what you think about the West from what is happening nowadays. Perhaps during your lifetime, you're not too old like me, and then let's go to the novel and see whether the novel and the views of the novel coincide with what we think of the West or not. So, Munira, you're raising your hand. Are you raising your hand from before the break or what? Yeah, drop your hand. Okay, obviously she's not here. Right, can you hear me? If you can hear me, raise your hand. Okay, good. So my question is whether the West live or lives up to the promise. We, some of us, or perhaps most of us, have or have had high hopes of the West. I mean, beacons of democracy, freedom of speech, fair and square kinds of treatment. What do you think? Does the West live up to the promise, to our concept of it? Yeah, Munira, are you raising? But this is very distracting. Can you drop your hand? Okay. طيب. Come to the mic and share يا جماعة. This is very frustrating, by the way. And if you don't get the marks that you think you should get, don't blame me for it, okay? This should be bi-directional. You talk and I talk back. I talk and you talk back, okay? So this is obviously not happening. It's only that we have Munira and Joyce speaking. This is not good enough. Again, we're asking very generalistic kind of questions. The questions are it's not too philosophical, by the way. Okay, so Joyce,
Yeah, doctor, concerning your question, does the media actually in the West live up
no,
to
I'm
its
not talking
role?
about the media because obviously I'm talking about the different institutions. the political institutions. I mean, so I'm talking primarily about the governments and the government institutions. Yeah, come to the mic, yes.
Yeah, if you're comparing the West nowadays, yeah, we have some freedom of speech. Yeah, the government is not as strict as other countries, but still, they're super biased according to their agenda. They're following their own kind of plans, and this is reflected also in the media. You know, like some of the aspects or the beliefs, okay, that the government is trying to impose. Many institutions actually adopt this kind of point.
Narrative.
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah. And this is very obvious in different things. And okay, yeah, about freedom of speech, about the gender, about this, about that. Yes, everyone, especially in the West, they're okay with it and they support it, except, of course, with the new changes in the US about Trump and all these new ideas. But in general, yeah, they're way too open to this kind of stuff compared to the East, of course, in the Middle East and also the Far East. There are certain aspects that are like red line, you cannot cross it. But when it comes to political issues, no, definitely the West, they're super biased when it comes to this, especially when we're talking about the Middle East, about the issues, about Palestine, about Israel, about all these aspects. So, yeah, they're not, still, it's biased. Like in short,
Okay.
it is biased, yes, definitely. All following their own agendas.
Okay, so obviously, according to you, Joyce, they don't live up to the promise. Our perceptions or past perceptions, because obviously those perceptions got changed nowadays, right? This is what you're
Definitely, yeah,
trying. Yeah.
they're not, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So, Hind, what do you have to say about that?
Um, First, um, sometimes I'm not sure how to articulate my words, but I will try my best. Um, so, uh, I don't think Western nations generally meet the expectations or the promised expectations, as you call it. Um, they advocate for human rights, but have a history of detaining migrants, for example, in questionable conditions, other than what Trump has declared a month ago. Um, and they do promote for democracy, but they have supported, um, uh, like they have supported, what do we call it? Like
Di
authoritarian
yeah,
regimes, for
yeah,
example.
dictatorships. Yes,
Yes,
and
when it serves their interests
mhm,
and no one
mhm.
else's. And um, sometimes I also think about the fact that despite wealth and progress, the wealth they have, um, uh, something happens like, let's say issues like health and not health, I mean wealth inequality. They have racial discrimination and um corporate influence over politics, which is, uh, how do I say that? Not sure if I did articulate my words well so
Yeah, you're
far.
doing an excellent job. Yeah, yeah, go on. You're doing an excellent job, really.
Mm, um, Hold on. I talked about racial discrimination
Yeah.
and they're promoting for democracy. What else? Also, the U.S. particularly, out of all the Western nations, they um, they push for, let's say, international law, but ignore rulings when inconvenient. such
Yeah,
as like rejecting the something called ICC or International Criminal Court,
yeah,
like when it investigates Western military actions.
yeah. Yeah, you're perceiving a mismatch between what they promote and what they do and exercise on the ground, right?
I think both of them uh, are not too far from each other,
Hmm. I mean,
at
you're
least in
trying to
my.
say that they are obviously brutally honest about their practices now with the Trump rising and saying it like it is, right? And they are not anymore kind of uh,
Yes, they
being
are making it obvious.
politically correct about stuff. They don't euphemize. I mean, when you
Mm,
give something a better shape or a better form and a better appearance, we
yes.
call it euphemism. There is no euphemism about what they are saying anymore. They
No.
don't exercise any or practice any political correctness. We're going to take over a place, we're going to take it. We're going to rename or give a
Mm-hmm.
different name to something. They are actually doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's so they don't live up to the promise. At least what would they obviously they taught us something, but uh, um, obviously they are not anymore practicing what they taught. There is obviously,
Yes.
like I said, this gap between preaching something and
Mm-hmm.
and doing it on the ground. Thank you so
Yes.
much for those lovely insights, Yahin.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's now shift gears and move to the novel itself and see how this is communicated and expressed. Do the people of the novel feel that uh, England lives up to the promise? They remember the two kids went to Europe and went to the West and to England, more specifically, to seek sanctuary and refuge from the oppression back home. So, was it honey and milk over there? Was everything bathed for them? Was everything accessible? And did they live in the happiest of conditions? Tell me about it, based on what we have seen in the novel. Let me remind you of the question. So, does England function in the story as the heaven to which people flee to from hell? Yani to which people flee from hell in their countries? Let's talk about Said and Miriam. Hmm. Hind, are you still raising your hand from last time, or you would like to give input?
No, it was from last time, but could you please repeat the question?
My
Just in case.
question is, we're moving now to the novel and the world of the novel. So how is England presented and the assessment of the characters involved, especially Said? Is it again the heaven they thought it should be? Remember, they went there in order to seek refuge, to flee, kind of oppression and persecution. So, did this happen quickly when they went, or did they have to go through hardships, trials, and tribulations? What happened over there that would make them reassess and reconsider their image of England and the West? Yeah, go ahead, Joyce.
Yeah, doctor. No, it wasn't a heaven after all, because yeah, they escape danger and all the problems in Nigeria. But from the very beginning, from the moment they set a foot in London, they were not treated properly. First of all, they were abandoned by the lady who brought them.
Mm.
Okay, so they only had just few pennies with them. Okay, and they tried to ask help. Everyone was pushing them away because, of course, like the racial biases about the skin color, about everything. They're foreigners after all. And even when they tried to find any place, even those the homeless in the street, they did not treat them properly. Like, this is my alley, find someone somewhere else. And when they went into the I think a shop or something, I forgot which, yeah, the guy started looking at them in a weird way. And then when those, I forgot the people who came and broke the place and they destroyed everything, the guy thought that they were part of this gang. So yeah, they did not treat them properly, and even when they were like hungry, no one helped them. Even those from Nigerian shops or places with Nigerian food, the guys there didn't help.
So
So
you're talking about individuals here. You're not talking about institutional, perhaps there was an institutional bias against them. Did you feel that?
definitely, it was so obvious in different aspects. Like, and it was exemplified with what happened with the boy and the girl. But you can tell from the very beginning, the people of England or London in particular, they didn't like foreigners. They don't like refugees. They feel as if they are burdens to them, and because these are foreigners. Same idea about what happened during the colonial times. Everyone who's a foreigner is like below the
Then
level.
what I'm trying to say is, did you feel that, I mean, through their bureaucracies, the fact that was it easy for them to apply for asylum and get it perhaps the next day? This is what
No, I
I
think
mean.
no, no, no.
If you
It
have,
took time.
yeah,
It took
yeah,
time. Yeah, it took
which
time.
we would consider as um, institutional hurdles, institutional bias against asylum-seeking individuals like them. So
Definitely,
it's not
yes.
only individualistic, where the government would say we're not responsible for the impressions and the biases of individual people, because we're a free country. Every one is entitled to his feelings and opinions. But what we're talking about here is the rules and regulation that they put in place, so that they can give us an impression as whether they are um, accommodating of immigrants and people who do not belong, or otherwise. So did we feel in the novel that there were institutional hurdles and that that those kids have to navigate before they eventually get the asylum status they were looking for? Do
Yes,
we have,
definitely.
yeah,
It was
yes.
very unwelcoming. You can say
Mm.
that the immigration and the refugee system wasn't as welcoming because it took time, and the way they dealt with it and where they kept them also when they needed refuge. It wasn't like treating them in the same way as the rest of the population.
And again, I mean, refugees are obviously not created equal, like they say. If you're dealing with a kid, then obviously, with the sensitivities that come with it, you should accelerate the process when it comes to kids and their well-being. And obviously, we didn't see this happening, right?
Yes, definitely.
Ah, okay, nice, very good. Again, of course, there were those bouts of homesickness, and the kids were obviously feeling that way. I mean, home is home, be it never homely, like they say. You still feel uh, um, that you're missing something, right? And this is what we have seen with the kids. They still feel that they want to go home, and they still shed nostalgic tears over the happy old days when they were with their extended family over there. Um, have you seen that? Have you felt that? We did see that, right? On a number of occasions. Again, no matter what, home is home. And of course, by home, I mean the country that you hail from, that you come from, no matter how bad and sad it sometimes is. And this is obviously, I would like you to read this. Now, this can be a little bit harrowing. I mean, the experience, and I would like you to kind of put yourself in the shoes of the kids, especially say, then look at things from her perspective. Yeah, I'll give you a couple of minutes for that. Okay. So what's happening here? Hmm. Yeah, Noor.
Uh, Hello, doctor.
Yeah, hi, how are you?
I'm good, Alhamdulillah. Yeah, I believe this passage as an beginning in the other side of the truth. It presents يعني, an intense and dramatic beginning for a children's book. I guess instead of gradual introduction to characters and settings, it immediately immerses the readers in a traumatic and chaotic event.
What was this traumatic and chaotic event that you're talking about?
This unconventional opening, like it serves the purpose as making the novel
No.
يعني typical for children's.
What is this event? This is a reference to what? What?
The
Well,
assassinations of Sid's mother.
yeah, it's the assassination of the mother, the murder of the mother, in cold blood,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, that's very intense and very harrowing, like we're saying, and again, it's very heartbreaking, you know. So how is the gushing of blood referred to? Did you notice this very vivid yet very heartbreaking metaphor or image? Yeah, Wissam. Yeah, Wissam, you're raising your hand.
Yes, I was gonna say that considering this first chapter in the novel, it was a sudden and violent opening, actually,
Hmm.
about how they describe the trauma of losing her mother and how she was like minding her own business and normal day. And all of a sudden, the assassination, when she hears her father is crying out loud. And I apologize for the noises that around you because I'm currently in the office.
Okay, thank you, Wissam. Somebody was also raising her hand. I think it was somebody wrote something. Let me read that. Was Reem, a dramatic imagery
Doctor,
which sets the
you
time for
mean when
children.
it was
Yeah, go ahead.
referred to as a scarlet monster?
Yes, absolutely. So, what do you think of this vivid image? It's so beautiful, but so
I'm
sad and
pretty
tragic at the same
neutral.
time. Hmm. So, blood here, the bloodstream is referred to as a monster, which it is, right?
It's acceptable as to not make it too gory, which is understandable.
Yeah, but then I'm talking about the effect, the feeling that it may leave with us. Um, yeah. So again, this is very early on in the novel. Like I think it was it whom was it was Noor who was saying that it came very early, right? We were kind of caught unaware. You don't normally read novels starting this way. I mean, that may happen later. But perhaps this is Naidu's way of telling us that life, what we think it is or should be, right? Okay, lovely. I like what you guys are saying and the insights that you're bringing to the conversation. I'm going to stop on this note and with this item. And when we meet on Thursday, and it's going to be our last before the midterm, inshallah. And it's going to be a revision where we're doing the other side of truth along with the other two picture books. So I would like you to kind of prepare so that you can have smart questions that I will try to answer to the best of my abilities. So if you have any final thoughts, come to the mic and share them with us.
Doctor, I do
Yeah,
have a quick question.
yeah, go ahead.
Um, After our first quiz, I thought we were able to review our questions and like our answers later on. And I was going to ask, isn't it possible so we could at least see where our where were our faults, and that we يعني we make sure that we do not make the same mistakes again?
I'll check the possibility and let you know because we don't normally, because it's the usual practice. We don't do that with other courses. So it's, it would be unfair if we reveal the questions and in other courses people are denied access to that. But it's about uniformity. Whatever everybody else does, we do. Whatever everybody else does not do, we don't do. But let me check the possibility and get back to you, inshallah.
Tamam, thank you.
You're welcome. Any more questions?
Doctor, can you give us advice? What should we include in the close reading? What should be we include? What we should avoid? What the main point we do in the close
Uh,
reading?
I mean, obviously the close reading will be on one of the two pictured books, perhaps more specifically on the Tale of Peter Rabbit. No, not necessarily, by the way. So again, with close reading questions, you need to always consider the colors in the background, the change of seasons, how the characters are portrayed, the font, if we're talking about voices in the park, and we have different fonts. And it would include this idea of neutrality, the fact that when you have animals, that would create a distance between you and the character so that you don't project your own bias as a reader. We'll talk about all of that, inshallah, ya Munira, in the revision class on Thursday when we meet in the master class session, inshallah. Inshallah.
Inshallah. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome. Okay, bye. On this note and with this item, we come to the end of today's lovely class, and I'll see you on Thursday, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum. Bye bye.